Hi, everybody. Mitch Tannenbaum here. Thanks for joining me today. This presentation is going to be geared towards external service providers. If you don't know what that is, stay tuned. But an external service provider is anybody that supports a DOD contractor, but is not actually an employee of the contractor. And that includes, most importantly, managed service providers, technical support, subject matter experts, and software providers. So with that, I am going to share my screen, and the country does need you because the defense community is really going to be challenged in terms of dealing with or obtaining folks that are qualified under the new rules. As a result of that, there's going to be a lot of new opportunities for people who haven't thought about being part of the defense community before. So, we are a TAN holding. We own multiple risk management companies. We've been involved in this business for many, many years. We've been involved with the Cyber AB, and before that, the CMMC AB since its inception. We're veteran-owned, small business, and you can see our information, including our capability statement, at tanholdingllc.com. Okay, so let's start with the very beginning. What is an external service provider? And they're defined as external people, technology, or facilities that an organization utilizes for provision and management of comprehensive IT or cybersecurity services on behalf of the organization. In the CMMC program, CUI or security protection data, for example, log data, configuration data, must be processed, stored, or transmitted to the ESP assets to be considered an ESP. That's a lot of words. So let me see if I can digest that for you. So it's people, technology, or facilities, places that a company, a defense contractor, uses to manage its IT and cybersecurity services. And under the CMMC program, CUI or security protection data must be processed, stored, or transmitted on an ESP assets in order to be considered an ESP. So, for example, if you have a antivirus product, as an example, and that antivirus product has a cloud component, well, that means that the results of what the antivirus software does is going to be stored for sure, transmitted your ESPs, i.e. your antivirus vendors' assets, and likely processed as well. Those are security protection data. Another example would be if you have a subject matter expert who is not an employee, but who needs to have access to controlled unclassified information, and they're doing it not on your computer in your office, but they're doing it on their computer in the cloud, but most likely on their computer, or their computer is at least involved in the equation, then they are an external service provider. So that's a very broad definition of who external service providers are. And I think they did it on purpose. So what are we trying to accomplish today? We're trying to explain the size of the government's need and what will be required in order for you to compete or to retain existing business. This is really important, that last sentence. So who does it apply to? It applies to ESPs with customers who already have DOD or federal contracts, or customers who are trying to get DOD or federal contracts. And also, if you yourself as an ESP are looking to compete for DOD and federal business, and of course, at that point, you won't really be an ESP. You will be a defense contractor, but you're starting out as an ESP. So, we're part of a global cyber war, and society is responding for better or for worse. We've developed a position paper on that. And if you'd like a copy of that, let us know. So here's kind of what we're talking about today. Number one, what is the opportunity? It's going to be disruptive. That's the reality of it. And it's being caused by massive intellectual property losses that the Defense Department is seeing as a result of defense contractors not protecting the government information sufficiently. And DOD is going to be the tip of the spear of this. They're going to be the bad guy. They're going to make life hard for folks. And DOD's compliance process is by far the most advanced and demanding in the federal government. There are a large number of federal contractors who work for the DOD, and many of them are already in violation of their contract. Why is that? I don't know if we explained that in this presentation, because of the fact that if there's a DFAR 7012 clause in your contract, it says that you are completely compliant with NIST 800-171, and most likely you're not, because most companies are not. Why do the feds think they can go be the tip of the spear? Well, that's because basically the federal government is big and they spend a lot of money. How's that for a simple answer? So, assuming that you want a piece of that pie, that 24% of the U.S. GDP, listen on, continue to listen. They're going to leverage off laws, executive orders, the government and DOD's market size, national security requirements, and the enforcement power of the DOJ. The DOJ is, as of last year, has stood up a new division who is responsible for making sure that people do comply with these laws and executive orders. And, their first focus is going to be primes, because what they've said is the primes are responsible for subs. So if you're a prime, I don't care whether you're, a mega corporation with 100,000 employees or you're a mini corporation with 10 employees, if you're a prime and you sub something out and you share controlled unclassified information or security protection assets with that sub needs to be compliant, and DOD plans to hold you accountable for that. All right. So how do they do that? Well, the DOD has limited resources. Even though they're huge, they do have limited resources. And so what they've done is they have subcontracted the responsibility for only assessing the DIB and their compliance with 80171, with that compliance process is called CMMC, to industry assessors who actually do assessments for a living, and they have been certified by the Cyber AB and ultimately by the CMMC, by the DOD. Okay, so what matters? What numbers matter to you? Here, you can just Google that search term. That's where these numbers came from. The existing DIB base is 221,000 companies. We think that there's a lot more than that. We're adding another 200,000 to that because DOD says they have good visibility into prime contractors because those are the folks that sign contracts with the government. They have some visibility to the first level of subs and a lesser degree of visibility to the second level of subs. And so, we're saying there's about another 200,000 of those folks that they really don't have any visibility to. And that means, fundamentally, there's less than one company that each one of those, the defense industrial base companies, is sharing information with. Now, if you're a big defense contractor, there's thousands and thousands of companies that you're sharing information with. If you're a tiny little one, maybe there is just a handful. But we're just making assumptions less than one. But the bigger problem is external service providers. And those are the things we talked about at the very beginning. Those are the organizations that are not technically defense contractors, but support the defense contractor's mission and with whom the defense contractor shares information. So if you take that number basically, we're saying that's 2 per defense contractor, so that's 2 times 429,000. That puts it at 1,000,003. If you don't like that number, let's say it's 1 million. Let's say it's 750,000, but it's a big number. And we'll explain why it's going to be hard to satisfy the demand and why there's a big opportunity there. So we arrived at the way basically that I said a minute ago. So what do you need to do? Well, first of all, you got to have management support and internal funding because there's a lot of stuff that has to happen and likely changes that be made. So start with getting better informed. We've got a lot of material that's available to you. You should analyze your service costs better so you can correctly price it. One of the challenges is that prices are going to be higher for vendors who are certified because they got to do a lot more stuff. And, if companies don't want a certified vendor, that's their business, but they will fail their own certification if they have uncertified vendors. So you got to figure out how much it's really going to cost you. Obviously, you got to start your own CMMC compliance efforts, improve your cost management processes so that you can not spend any more money than you have to while still accomplishing the goals. Look at third-party tools that you use both internally and you resell to your customers. Make sure they meet the requirements, and there are very, very strict requirements. Update your client contract and move into the DOD ecosystem to offer your products and services. And I can tell you already there is a demand. And we have a lot of information. Again, ask us for any of these bits of information if you want. We'll be happy to share them with you. Okay, cost and timeline. Like all good consultants, I'm going to say it depends. And it really does. How much management support do you have? How big are you? How complex are you? How much CUI or SPA data do you have? And on and on and on. A lot of questions. How much budget do you have? But a reasonable estimate is 6 to 18 months. And if you assume that DOD is going to start pushing the envelope in early 2025, which is certainly possible, then 6 to 18 months means you better get started right away. Tan Holding, obviously, and our sister companies, our operating companies, can help you with this. I think I said all this before, but check out our website, contact us. We'll be happy to help you. We have a lot of experience, decades of experience in the defense community. And so, please reach out to us. You can also partner with us and become a reseller of our services to your clients. You can join our BCISO team. You can join our expert witness team. So we have a lot of opportunities there for partners to earn commissions, and we're also developing some new tools. Here is our contact information. Please reach out to either Ray or myself. We'll be happy to help you. And here's to your mission of becoming a certified CMMC partner in the defense industrial base community. Till next time, thanks for listening.
For more information or to purchase this or any other of our board or executive services, visit us at cybersecurity.com. Call us at 303-887-5864 or email us at rh@cybersecurity.com. Goodbye.